Hi, welcome back to my podcast, and we continue discussing with the ChatGPT. Hi, how was your day?
Hey there! My day's been going great so far. Thanks for asking. I'm always here ready to chat, so feel free to let me know what's on your mind. It's definitely a big moment for OpenAI's Codex. Hitting 1 million downloads that fast shows there's a real appetite for coding-focused AI tools that stand on their own, separate from the general-purpose chatbot crowd. Of course, once they tighten up those rate limits after the promo, we might see a bit of a shift. Some developers might look around at alternatives if they feel the restrictions are too tight, but for now, it's a pretty clear sign that coding agents are carving out their own space and that people are really interested in using them as a dedicated tool.
I know the Codex is shared
No problem. I get what you're saying. Codex is definitely still shared as a sort of assistive tool, and it's not like it's suddenly become a whole separate universe overnight. But seeing it packaged into its own standalone app is kind of a sign that these coding-focused AIs might evolve into their own category. In other words, it's still part of the same family, but it's getting its own spotlight. Let me know if you want to dive into anything else.
I want to teach you how to say. I just want to say in Chinese names. 这里面说的 Codex 应该是指最近 OpenAI 推出的 Codex 桌面版。
好的，这里面说的 Codex 应该是指最近 OpenAI 推出的 Codex 桌面版。
Yes, how to say this the sentence in English?
Sure. You can say what they're referring to by Codex here is probably the recently released Codex desktop version from OpenAI.
What they are referring to by Codex here is probably the recently released Codex desktop version from OpenAI.
Exactly. That's a perfect translation. You got it spot on.
So, the discussing topic is around the move to a standalone alone app to sign that coding agent. So, do you think why OpenAI make this the product? Because Codex have the terminal or the plugin, the how to say the 形式 in Chinese. I want to say is 它已经有了插件和控制台版本的形式，为什么还需要这个？
You can say it like this. 它已经有了插件和控制台版本的形式，为什么还需要这样一个独立的应用呢？
Yes, how to expression in the English?
Sure. In English, you could say, it already has a plugin and a command line interface version. So why is there a need for a separate standalone app?
It already have a plugin and a command line interface version. So why is there to need a need for a separate standalone app?
Exactly. You got it. That's a perfect way to put it. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Throttling.
So how do you watching this my question?
I think your question is a really good one. Basically, you're wondering why OpenAI is creating a standalone app when they already have other ways to use Codex. And it makes sense to ask that. Often companies do this to make their tool more accessible or to reach a different kind of audience who might prefer a simple app over plugins or command line tools. So it's a very reasonable thing to be curious about. Absolutely. If you have any more questions or anything else you're curious, absolutely, we can keep going. Just let me know what you like to dive into next, and we'll continue from there.
Sure thing.
Absolutely. Let's keep the conversation rolling. Feel free to share whatever's on your mind next.
The referring upcoming trading from the topic is what does it mean?
In this context, throttling just means putting some limits on how much or how quickly people can use the service. So when I mention upcoming throttling, they're talking about adding some restrictions after the initial promo period. It's basically a way to manage usage so that the service doesn't get overloaded and to encourage people to move to paid tiers if they need more access.
Oh, I got it. So the how to say the 限制在就是我想 I want to asking question is 这个限制在这个话题中，这个限制是指的什么？
你可以这样说，这个话题中提到的限制是指什么？
Yes, how to say in English?
You can say, in this topic, what does the limit refer to?
What does the limit refer to? Oh, in this topic, what does the limit refer to? Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. You phrased it perfectly. If there's anything else you want to know, just let me know.
We dive the next topic.
That's a really interesting shift to talk about. Basically, as OpenAI heads toward that huge funding round and starts thinking about adding ads, it does look like we're seeing a more commercial phase of AI. That can definitely bring up questions about whether the user experience might change, especially as start appearing in what used to be a pretty clean chat interface. It's kind of the classic trade-off. More funding and growth often means more monetization strategies, and people would naturally wonder if that could affect how they interact with the AI. Let me know if you want to dig into any part of that more.
Astronomical. Compromise.
Oh, so I once asked you in the last chat, do you think the integrated edit is may affect the usage of the user?
It's definitely possible. When ads get integrated into something that people are used to using without distractions, it can change how they feel about the experience. Some users might not mind at all, while others can find it a bit annoying or feel like it's a gift away from the original clean interface. So yeah, it could affect usage patterns or how loyal people feel to the product. We'll have to see how it plays out.
My opinion is, if no OpenAI say it's integrated the advertising, it's still so OpenAI just to make the more how to say in English is 他把这个广告的事情弄得更加透明了。How to say in English?
You can say they're just making the whole advertising thing more transparent.
Oh yes, they are just making the whole advertising thing more transparent. So I think it's also be a good thing because because AI.
Absolutely. Being more transparent can definitely be a good thing. It helps users know what to expect and builds trust, especially when a platform is evolving and adding new ways to support itself. So I think you better really fair point there.
I see. I also think having a advertising which not be a bad things because uh, i- if user know it's just the advertising like similar like to Google, the advertising is not nothing.
Yeah, I completely get what you mean. If it's made clear that it's just like any other form of advertising, kind of like how Google does it, then it might not be a big deal. As long as users know what to expect and it's done in a way that's upfront and not disruptive, a lot of people might be totally fine with it. It's all about how it's presented, right?
Yes, this is what I want to express. Like
Absolutely.
any other from the advertise.
No problem.
Kind of like how Google does. Yes, I want to express this means, but it's so hard for me how to express in English.
You're doing great, and I'm glad I could help you get your point across. Sometimes it just takes a little practice, but you're definitely making yourself understood. If you ever need help finding the right words, I'm here.
It is make clear it is make clear that uh if is that it is just like the other forms of how Google does it, kind of like how Google does. I think this the expression is so hard to understanding.
I totally get it. Sometimes it feels tricky to put those thoughts into words, especially in another language, but you're expressing yourself well. You're basically saying that as long as it's clear the ads are just like how Google does it, in a transparent and familiar way, then it's easier to understand and accept. And it makes perfect sense.
Just like if it's made clear that it's that that is just like the if it's made clear that just is like the other platform kind of other forms of kind of the any other forms of advertising kind of the how Google does it.
Yes, exactly. You're basically saying that if they make it clear, it's just like other common forms of advertising, like how Google does it, then it's more understandable and not really a big deal. You're getting your point across perfectly.
If it's made clear that that it is just it's so hard for me to saying this.
You're doing just fine. It's completely normal for it to feel a bit tough at times, but you're absolutely getting your ideas across. Just keep practicing and it'll get easier every time. I'm here to help whenever you need it.
If it's made clear that is just like any forms of that is just like any forms of advertising, kind of the how Google does it.
Yes, that sums it up perfectly. If it's made clear that it's just like any other form of advertising, like how Google handles it, then it's easier for people to accept. You've got the idea across really well.
If it is made if it is made clear that it's like the other forms of advertising kind of the how Google does it.
Exactly. You got it. If it's made clear that it's just like other forms of advertising, similar to how Google does it, then it's a lot easier for everyone to understand and accept. You're expressing it really well. That's a really intriguing topic. Essentially, if AI agents could replace a bunch of those separate SaaS tools and handle everything themselves, the whole landscape could change. Founders might have to rethink their business models if customers no longer need a dozen different subscriptions. Investors will probably look more at AI-first solutions that bundle a lot of functions into one. So in a post-SaaS economy, we might see more streamlined AI-driven platforms and a shift in how software is packaged and sold. It's definitely a big shift to think about.
What does mean the post-SaaS economy?
In Chinese, you could say post-SaaS economy is 什么意思? This will help you ask what the term post-SaaS economy means.
Yes, so you can clarify for me what does mean the post-SaaS?
Of course. In simple terms, the post-SaaS economy just refers to a future scenario where traditional software as a service SaaS models are no longer the norm. Instead of subscribing to a bunch of different software services, companies and users rely more on AI agents that can do the same tasks all in one place. So it's basically about moving beyond the old SaaS model into a new way of doing things with AI.
Dismantle.
I think the agent master need to replace some traditional SaaS, but it's not be the killing because a lot of the industry data is private.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. While AI agents can definitely replace some traditional SaaS tools, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. There are always going to be areas, especially where private or highly specialized data is involved, where those traditional tools will still have a role. So it's more about a balance or a hybrid approach rather than AI completely taking over everything.
So if you think like the niche industry agent that's really need because like the traditional AI company which is keep building the how to say 通用型的 agent.
You can say it like this. For specialized industries, those kinds of agents are really needed because the more general purpose agents built by traditional AI companies aren't enough. So you're just pointing out that in fields with very specific needs, you really do need those more tailored AI agents rather than something more generic.
Tailor. What does that mean? Tailor.
Tailored.
Okay, tailor. Yes, tailors. Very interesting. I'm currently building a tailor AI agent, but I think it must be replaced in the future by the general purpose agent.
That's really interesting. And you're probably right. There's always that possibility that as general purpose agents get smarter, they might cover more of those specialized needs. But for now, it sounds like what you're building is really valuable because it meets a unique requirement. And who knows, maybe those tailored solutions will always have a place alongside the more general tools.
Okay, so we're discussing the next topic.
Absolutely, let's jump into the next topic. Just let me know what you'd like to talk about and we'll keep going. That's a really thought-provoking shift. If all these top-tier models are starting to feel roughly the same on traditional benchmarks, then yeah, it makes sense that businesses would either rely more on their own testing and just see which model actually fits their needs best in real-world use. In other words, it becomes less about a leaderboard of scores and more about the feel and user experience, what you call the vibe. So choosing an AI stack might become more about trying things out in your own environment and seeing which one just feels right for your workflow.
I think the user experience is a key for rank this the model because we can see like the arena this the platform is expectedly ranked by the choice from the user, not any benchmark.
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. User experience really does become the deciding factor when benchmarks don't tell the whole story. Just like you said, platforms like Arena or similar setups where users vote or choose what feels best can give a much clearer picture of which model actually works well in practice. It's talking about what feels right to the people using it day to day rather than just a score on paper.
But you should know if the performance is almost the same level, but the price maybe should be same.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Even if the performance levels out across different models, the pricing can still be a big deciding factor. If one model costs a lot less but delivers basically the same experience, then businesses are obviously going to pay attention to that. So it's not just the vibe and user experience, but also the cost. But it'll help people decide which AI to go with.
Yes. So, thank you joining this podcast.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure to join in and cat through all these topics with you. If you ever want to do it again, just let me know.